Oh. We're talking about Augury.
Okay, what do the omens speak of? Okay, Senta, will you subscribe?
Such a dumb joke. Second level divination. Ritual. That's good. Casting time 1 minute, range of self, components verbal somatic material, specially marked sticks, bones, or similar tokens worth at least 25 gold pieces. They are not consumed though, that's nice. Duration, instantaneous. Takes a minute to cast though, or 11 if the ritual. By casting gem inlaid sticks, rolling dragon bones, laying out ornate cards, or employing some other divining tools, you receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about the results of a specific course of action that you plan to take within the next 30 minutes. The DM chooses what the following possible omens. That 30 minutes is not a lot of time. Wheel for good results, woe for bad results, wheel and woe for both good and bad results, nothing for results that aren't especially good or bad. The spell doesn't take into account any possible circumstances that might change the outcome, such as the casting of additional spells or the loss or gain of a companion. If you cast the spell 2 or more times before completing your next long rest, there is a cumulative 25% chance for each casting after the first that you get a random reading. The DM makes this roll in secret. So, the issue is it can still be used. It just has to be used on, like, making a decision that is within your power, not lying on someone else. Just because the 30-minute limit and the fact if it was an action and it was in the next 30 minutes, I could see this being used almost all the time. The fact it's a minute casting time, then 30 minutes, like if it's an in-the-moment thing or you're in the middle of a dungeon or combat or about to make a decision on what door to go into, you might not have a minute to just sit down and see what the next 30 minutes of the dungeon might hold. There's also the issue of it's just good, bad, both, or nothing. Because that's leaving it up to a DM judgment call on what they're estimating whatever your next decision is, whatever you're asking. And Wizards apparently thought this was going to be really good, really accurate, which is why they gave it a cumulative 25% chance each time you cast it. Give a cumulatively 25% chance for each casting after the first that it's a random reading. There are situations where, like if we're taking world building into account, and some of these player situations, that dungeon scenario, if we step away from that and we go to like a business agreement, or some kind of meeting, or you're about to make a decision, deal, legal document, you then have to judge, does the spell take into account the actions that are going to ripple out from that, or anything just in the immediate 30 minutes? Like, if it's just the meeting, and the meeting goes well, but what's agreed or talked about there has repercussions like 2 months later, does the spell cover that? And I think it's those short-term scenarios, or if Wizards thought the minute in the dungeon you would still get. It just falls short. It's also too vague, and I don't know. I've used Wheel and Woe. I've used Wheel and Woe a ton. Just because some actions, 30 minutes, and normally when they're asking about this, it's something risky. It's like, well, yeah, it can be bad and good, or nothing. Because it's not really going to be good or bad. The combat's just going to be difficult. It's just, compared to other divination spells, sure, it's second level, but can be cast as a ritual, but then that's worth nothing when cumulatively, you're just saving one spell slot. Because cumulatively, you're breaking the spell and it will give you wrong answers. Until you take a long rest, which in some settings or modules or way you're running, like let's say you're running gritty realism, that sucks. It just falls short, sadly. And I love the idea of like the throwing the bones down or having the cards displayed, or the dice throws. The flavor of the spell is great. The fact it's limited to 30 minutes, and on top of that, it's a bit vague. And then the cumulative, it can get wrong. Things just stack against it. 3 out of 10. Feel bad.